Hey guys, it's me. I wanted to jump on here really quick for those of you who had the opportunity to work with me this month in November. You kind of know what the Gypsy Tribe covered and what we didn't. But if you were someone who didn't get to join us this month and maybe you were prioritizing holidays or you just had other things going on, I still wanted you to be able to have the opportunity to benefit from the NLP work that we did. So whenever I'm doing NLP sessions in my Gypsy Tribe, it allows for us to have one-on-one contact with each other. And when we do that, we are learning from each other what these particular words mean in the mind, the associations we make with them, and then not only how to go in and do the shadow work, the psychoanalysis, the kind of discussion of the thoughts and feelings, but then we take it out and we look at how it applies to magic in the air and in the doing space. So with that being said, I wanted to talk about two words that we hear a lot in the paranormal, and we hear them a lot in the occult, but unfortunately, I think that they get misused a lot and people just don't understand what it is they're saying. And all it takes is just a moment to sit and think about it. And that word, of course, one is commune. To commune. When people hear me doing divination or an occult exercise and suggesting that you might be communing with a loved one or communing with ancestors or guides or spirit guides or angels or aliens, who knows? But what does that mean? Take a second and think about what that definition is. Pause. Don't cheat. Don't Google it. Talk about it with your friends and family, with yourself, with your mind, because however you're using this word, it's applying to how you use this word, in and out. Now, commune can be broken down into two different definitions. So when we're doing NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, I usually go right into the Webster's dictionary to see, okay, what is the majority agreed upon? And it's broken down by either a noun or a verb. Now that tells me two things in the occult. When doing NLP with the occult, you have something that is a material thing, like a noun, a person, place, or a thing. This is a reference to something factual, evidentiary, and an intentional thing. So this is usually a reference to Earth. So it already tells me it's going in. Good to know. And also, this kind of reference to a noun. It's not just a noun, it's also a verb. But a noun first. So it's a way in which we apply this energy, but we know it's kind of starting in a particular space or working in a particular space. So then we further think, okay, what's the definition? And the first is a group of people living together or sharing possessions and responsibilities, a collective, a cooperative, a co-op, or community, which I think is the word association a lot of people play on when they think of a commune, or thank you, Hollywood. They think of a bunch of females running around in white picket hats and like doing crazy things. This is not an American Horror Story, commune, cult, everyone drinking Kool-Aid necessarily. It can be as simple as a community, a collective, everyone in California sharing their taxes, coming together to vote, a commune, a group of people living in a space, sharing possessions and responsibilities in a certain label, right, that you would agree upon and come to terms with. Now that label we'll set aside, but it's also a communal settlement space. We think of settle, we think of country or territory or space. So again, I'm kind of check marking these particular words that reference in the occult. Space-time is earth magic, so we're going to earth. Again, check, check, check. But the last little nod in the noun space for Webster's dictionary gives a little nod to the Reign of Terror of 1794 in Paris, a great piece of French history about a municipal government that is kind of dealing with things and brutal suppression by government troops, and how seizing your rights and privileges might play a role in that commune or community responsibility, cooperative response, collective power, government. We, the people of our government. The government should fear us, not the other way around. Just my little sidestep. But anyway, this nod to the reign of terror I appreciate in this divine synchronistic timing. Astrologically, this is November. If you're joining me in America, you might find it to be funny, not funny, universe, but I appreciate it. But let's go to the medieval Latin, French, English, Commune, 17th century Commune, very, very French Communia. It's neutral in a sense of where it's going to step. So then we think, ooh, masculine, feminine. We know it's earth. We know this is kind of going to be feminine. But this is where it reigns neutral, is because it's also a verb. And neurolinguistic programming, a verb is usually something we're doing. And doing would imply yang energy. Not potential, but kinetic, movement. And so in this sense, a verb, commune. A third person, omnipotent, can be past present, can be past participle. It can be, in a sense of language speaking, to share one's intimate thoughts or feelings, especially on a spiritual connotation, a spiritual level, someone or something, such as the purpose of praying to commune with God is the example. But what I love here is, think about that, to share one's intimate thoughts or feelings. Intimate, introspection, yin energy, intimate thoughts, earth, and feelings, water. And the synonyms for this are to communicate. Yes. And this is what, of course, I think a lot of people jump to, where you have half, maybe even a majority of people thinking of the noun first, because that is, of course, where it starts. You, me, myself, what I think and what I feel, of course, establishing that. But to commune is to come together, to gather, to share those intimate thoughts, feelings, responsibilities, and space with people. But of course, to communicate, speak, talk, converse, confer, interfer, to be in close contact with, in touch with. Ooh, the spiritual connotation, the closeness, the intimate connotation. It even shows a synonymous second part of verb here as a close spiritual contact with. To empathize, to have great rapport, close touch, or feel at one with. This is a reference, whoa, did I just throw that up there? To energy. And so when we have earth, water, air, fire, and we have one that's starting in earth, but it's how we share. It's going and it's moving in a certain direction. A commune has a certain goal. We're moving forward. And our goal is to do that in a unified way, to do that with intimate thoughts and feelings. We usually commune with people who we are either like or want to be like. This is very important to kind of where it's starting and how it has to go. Boop. See here, this is where we are manifesting, and the manifest comes right here. It's going from water to air, and it's moving in a certain direction, so we can understand with quantum mechanics and gravity and science and math and the occult and our rituals what and how we're going to do when we commune. We know it's an empathizing space. It starts with water, and that it moves back like this. It moves through that Jacob's ladder like this, and kind of giving a very special divine nod, of course, to the religious connotation. If you're a Catholic, if you're Christian, my husband's like, Catholics are Christian, they're one and the same. I was raised Southern Baptist by my dad's family. They, of course, believe they're separate from Catholics. That's a whole nother thing. But if you perhaps heard the word commune and thought, oh, Holy Communion, to receive Holy Communion, to be one with Christ, to take in the blood and body of Christ, to commune with, to speak with, to be one with. And of course, we're only going to do this with people, hopefully, that we can be vulnerable with, that we have rapport with, that we do know how to communicate with. And when it's empathy, talk about the language of love. I mean, if you've been forced to read the 5 love languages, or you yourself work in social services, as I have for many years, understanding how we communicate love, very important. In the occult, I teach that, and the Greek forms of love, eros, ludus, all these different ways, and how to actually use it like a variable, like a mathematic equation, because I'm more skeptical and objective with my way I do things. So to commune with, well, who's that going to be? You've got to determine your thoughts and feelings and which ones you're going to be communing. And so, of course, all of my Gypsy Tribe members will know at this point we need to go down through earth. What are your thoughts? Water. What are your feelings? Air. What are you saying? And fire. What are you doing? So in your thoughts, who do you share your most intimate thoughts with and how? Water. Whom do you share your most intimate feelings, intuitions with? And who, what, when, where, why? Air. Whom do you share? How, where, and in what context do you share or commune your intimate words? What are you saying? Are you able to say some? I mean, a lot of times we don't even say what we think and feel. This becomes extra scrupulous. We really criticize air heavily, and we should. And then in fire, what are we doing? Are we being consistent with what we think and feel and say and do? And in this space, how are we communing and making that manifested with the groups of people around us? The pandemic has been a space of great separation. We haven't been able to feel connected with or a part of a community. Even here in America, I hate to admit, we feel really separated. That divine propaganda and its intentions to create this unruly space of segregation, a possible omnipotent civil war. And it's not about black and white or even the color of your skin as much as it seems to be a dichotomy of this or that, up or down, red or blue. And it really, to commune with, we have to look at everyone we are sharing this space with. We have to say, what are our goals? What are our responsibilities? What do I feel comfortable sharing with you, like it or not? And how can we work together to move in close contact with each other to achieve this? So communing and speaking with and conversing with and sharing responsibilities with people we can trust, people in our space, making sure we can even clean our space, making sure we're not surrounded by abusive people, we're not terribly isolated. This can be ancestors. This can be if you're in a pandemic and man, you're like me in Minnesota, you get fined $25,000 for leaving your house. You might need to commune with your dead grandma. You might need to commune with the creatures of the land, the birds at your bird feeder. It doesn't matter as long as you know that you are being intimate and honest and that whatever you are thinking and feeling is cohesive with what you are saying and doing, and that whatever this momentum is, that the goal at the end, what do you mean, a goal? Of course, a good witch always has a goal in mind. Why else would we be communing? Oh, you're just playing with a Ouija board for fun? No, 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 no. No, 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 no. This is meddling. We don't want to do that. And that's where I think people get confused with commune, to communicate with. It doesn't necessarily mean just because I'm sitting down at a Ouija board or dangling a pendulum or engaging in divination to receive information from the divine. It could be a form of my commune and my magic of communing. And the who, the what, the when, the where, and the why gives you a very intimate look into someone's magic. And this, of course, is our magic. The shadow work would be, gosh, who do I have to clean out of my space? Who do I want to be talking or speaking with, but that can't receive this information? What kind of communing are you maybe not doing, where talking and conversing with someone would be really, really helpful? This is always important. I think sharing your thoughts, whether it be a part of catharsis or just constructive criticism, being able to debate something and get an alternate perspective. Coming up on this full moon in Gemini, that's what the Gemini sign in the zodiac is about. Some people see it as flaky or two-faced because it's indecisive, but really it's strong and curious and capable of taking two paths at the same time to think of pros and cons and do it all. Man, we don't have enough time in the universe or energy in the world to do it all while in this human vessel, star suit, meat sack. So we need to choose and make a decision. Gemini struggles with that because they see so much more than we do at times. Use that energy. Reach out and commune with a Gemini near you. Don't be afraid of what they may or may not tell you. Receive it with love and empathize with them if you dare. So you guys, I hope that this will clarify commune. And if I haven't lost you in this 15 minutes, I want to take you even deeper. Again, for those of you interested in learning the occult for real, or you are interested in learning magic and want to know what it's about and how it applies to science and things like that, so that you can skeptically have conversations with yourself or other objective-minded people in your life, or even those who are terribly religious and just can't seem to see it any other way. I want to discuss another word that is not to commune with and allow the possession of your body. Oh, no. To invoke. Now, invoke, evoke. Evoke is a psychological term, E-V-O-K-E, to recall upon something already in your earth. To, oh yeah. It's also a play on, did you mean to say invoke? To evoke. Oh, like that. It's a way that the energy is moving. But what we mean, of course, is to invoke. Computing, religion, all terms. Think right now and pause this if you have to. What is your definition of invoke? What does that mean? Well, I can tell you what's really interesting is that it is a verb. So with neurolinguistic programming and the occult, this already tells me this is something that we do. So this is going to be an air or fire, something that's measurable by the outside realm. So it's kind of left the human vessel and is now an air and fire. And so this is a verb. Invoke. I'm going to invoke thee. Man, I always think of the craft. Mana, I invoke thee. Watchtower of the West. And there's so many stereotypical Hollywood movies that play out the invoking. And I'll be honest with you, it can be dramatic. It should be, shouldn't it? Holy, holy, holy. Welcome everyone to church. Sit down, stand up, do this, do that. Yes, God, amen. Swing the smoke, do the stuff. To invoke. To cite or appeal to. To cite or appeal to. Heaven forbid did I ever think I would be referencing MLA or my English teachers that I could barely stand to show up to class to see. Work cited pages. Oh my gosh. Kill me, kill me, kill me, kill me, kill me, kill me, kill me. But here I am telling you, of course, in hindsight, having a good works cited page or a cite or a reference or something that you appeal to that's kind of an authority that helps you support your argument or action, that you say, you know what, the reason I'm doing this is because so-and-so told me, or I saw so-and-so do this. Oh yeah, where'd you learn that? And you cite your dad, or you cite Alone on National Geographic, or whatever. You are citing, resorting, referring, recoursing, adducing, instancing to someone or something that is defending what you're doing. And it's usually something smarter or better, so that you're like, yeah, ship is rolling. Look, this is what I learned. This is where I learned. I learned that because you see this all the time online. Oh yeah? Well, I'm a doctor. Oh, well, I live here. Oh, well, you don't know because you don't know. Whatever it is that a person would have to cite, to appeal to support their argument, oftentimes online when someone goes, well, you don't have any idea because you insert whatever, I will remind them, I have a master's degree in forensic psychology. I have a degree in Minnesota law enforcement. Worked in social services for many, many years doing crisis de-escalation and working with really extreme violent offenders. I did that because my mom was an addict. She was beat to death and is now dead. These things all play in really heavily to obviously my personal bias, my story, where I'm coming from. I've written books on the paranormal and quantum mechanics. I have applied my life experiences, as do we all, to what we think and believe and feel. And so we're always citing and referencing. We're always invoking. We actually are computing and don't even realize we're doing it. The human mind is absolutely amazing. But to be able to both deduce and know where that information comes from, to be able to cite something and remember the who, what, when, where, and why is really important, because that's that chain of command for us to share our information and know where it came from. It's also extremely important, not just for deductive understanding and objective information, but when the information is working to manifest. In the occult, we say we want to manifest something, we want to make it happen. I want to go to school, I want to get that degree, I want to go to this place and get that job. I want to go here and can you call your aunt for me because she works there? Can she be a referral? Can you put her down for me as a reference? Invoke. That's a reference. That's a cite. That's a citation. That's to call upon in prayer or whatever as an inspiration, to supplicate, to entreat, to appeal to plead with. Please, oh, me, oh, my. Help me, haven't I? You know what I mean? It's whatever you're going to do to invoke and call upon. And what I think is really interesting, and I want to share this word with you, because usually, right, it's coming, and here we are, and we see how it's moving, and this energy is moving. How do you invoke your thoughts, or how do you invoke your feelings? It's very difficult. Usually invoking is starting here and moving out. And invoking is something that we do by shaking our vocal cords and taking those thoughts or feelings that we've had and sharing it to the world. Someone comes in and looks at you, unless you're showing symptoms of what's going on in your mind, they may not have any idea what you're thinking or feeling. It's not until they say, hey, what's going on? And you feel your throat tighten, ooh, and you have to go to speak and share and say it. Or when you're reading a passage at a funeral or at a graduation and you've read it 100 times, but now suddenly you're reading it to an audience. You are invoking. You are citing something, and you are going to be engaging and influencing energies around you without a doubt. Being a witness to, calling upon to witness, it speaks to forensic psychology. It speaks to the Kitty Genevieve's effect. It speaks to quantum mechanics and the observation theory, which has been coming up a lot lately because the anonymity of, say, the voting system, the ability to hack something and not know its site or source, to say, oh, well, this person isn't even alive anymore, or to, call upon something and to witness something and to actually see it happen, gives credence to it in a physical way. When you invoke and speak out something, hey, John, or I'm going to lose weight, and you proclaim it, I do. You say the words, I promise. Man, you can be thinking and feeling the entire gambit. But when you say something, that is when it directs that energy. That's when it directs its focus. Even in a deductive argument, well, that's not what you said. You have to be careful with what you say and how you say it. The monotony, the tone. Neurolinguistic programming is the language, the magic, the computing process of our brains, and language is the way that it is done when we're communicating with other people. So, what I love about this definition, and when you look at invoke, to be a witness to, I want you guys again to think of quantum mechanics and the double slit experiment. I want you to think about wave particles. I want you to think about how at a certain level, at a certain moment in time, where is that? There, it is there, I can assure you, and there is a nod to exactly where it's at. If in your magic you are familiar with all of your frequencies and all of your spectrum, and you know that at some point when someone's watching you or when someone gives you an opinion that you change how you do things, that is significant. That being a witness to someone else, someone being a witness to you, whether you believed you are always watched or you are always watching, the evil eye or the eye of Ra, this calling upon to be done earnestly. It's not something you do all the time, just as many people, even the most devout, don't truly fall to their knees and call upon Jesus or the Great Spirit or the universe or God to help them until they are in great despair. Citing something earnestly, calling upon something when you need it, not overusing it, not crying wolf, doing it in truth. Tempering it, knowing the button, knowing the nuclear codes, knowing the process, practicing it but not doing it. Knowing how to do it, but not overdoing it. Moderation in invocation, supplication, and invocation, and some of the hairs. I mean, we're splitting hairs, and it is how you are maneuvering through air magic into fire magic. It is how you are actually manifesting those tiny particles in the way that the moment that it hits air, observation theory matters. What does that mean? That means that someone else's eyes will change the manifestation of your intent unless you know whose eyes and what eyes are watching, or that you even get to the point of understanding that it doesn't matter because it matters. And because it matters, it doesn't matter. And so then you always know which way it's going to go. And with that, there is both certainty and uncertainty. It gets very, very, very spiritual, very, very, very quick in quantum mechanics, I feel. And in the occult, the word invoke and commune, these are two words used interchangeably that are just in their own right being misused or not taken the time to think about. Whom do you commune with and how? And if you are invoking someone, I invoke thee. If you are invoking Hecate, or you are invoking Thor, or you are invoking Grandma Fern, or Jesus Christ, or Scripture, like many religious people do, understand what exactly that interpretation might be, or that when you cite someone or something, that observation may not be in a great support for you. When someone says, oh yeah, well that's my dad says so. And then someone goes, oh yeah, well your dad's a, idiot. That matters. So when you are invoking something and calling out, and again, I've often shared with my Gypsy tribe that in the process of watching a ritual, the reason why certain things are so sacred, the reason why you will or will not see certain things on Witch Talk or something like that, is because the invocation is a vulnerable space, a permission space right there in that vessel of alchemy where you are citing and referencing a certain authority in a state of moderation for you to call upon earnestly, so therefore you don't want a bunch of attention. And in that space, it's kind of, you're doing it in a way that is both very complex and very focused for you and what you are invoking. I think about how just because you find a spell online doesn't make it any less personable. In fact, doing a full moon ritual with a great many people invoking things in a group can be very powerful, strength in numbers. But to call upon something and how you're doing it, whom you're calling, how you're calling, like, oh, this is Lion King. Like, or I can hear holy, holy, holy. It's like, oh, they're probably Christian. Or you hear certain things or certain songs, certain frequencies, how you are invoking consciously or unconsciously. It's going to tell me a great amount of detail about your manifestations, your vulnerabilities, your weaknesses, your goals, as far as like cold readings go and psychic generalizations and the true understanding of psychology and psychic intuition and how it plays out. Skeptics should be interested in this space. Invoking tells me a great deal about a person and their spiritual magic. And if you don't know yourself in this space, this is what we are doing or did in November with the Gypsy Tribe. So try and take this time to work on it for yourself. Take some books, reach out if you have questions, let me know. Other members of the tribe that are working in this area on their own are always interested in the thoughts and experiences of others, because we temper each other with trial and error at times and just the discussions of others, right? So invoking is a very specific thing as long as you know what you're doing, and communing, same thing. However, we're doing them all day, all long with everybody all the time. And it could be completely unconscious and you're computing on autopilot in a hypnagogic space where propaganda is taking over. And I'll be honest with you guys right now more than ever, astrologically, we must stay focused, we must stay diligent, and we must be willing to combat error. If you have been struggling with something, if something has been bothering you, if you just can't do this anymore, if whether it be COVID or politics or relationship or career, a lot of energy has been in the yin for the last few months, and it's now tipping into the other space. This full moon going into Gemini is going to be an opportunity to use lunar eclipse energy to ground major chapters of your life and be able to kind of jump off of the bridge, so to speak, in a bungee jump of risk to transport yourself and grow and ascend, as long as you have all the information you need to make the best decision possible. So hopefully you guys can take this into a meditation, get this done before the weekend full moon, before Monday's full moon. Get this done, reach out, commune, invoke, do what you got to do so that you can utilize the end of November into the beginning of December, because I can assure you, here in America, at least, we still have a ride. We still have information coming. We are gonna have some interesting shit go down. And I can tell you what day, I can tell you who, I can tell you what, when, where, and why. And you and anyone else who's into astrology, if you're watching like Bahati Live or somehow, you can see it and you can hear it. And the stars are telling us, the information is telling us, and it's likely your guides are ready to tell you what information you need to hear too. So commune with them and know what you're doing when you do it. So you guys, thank you so much for tuning in, listening to my Gypsy Tribe NLP for November 2020. I hope this finds you well, and until then.